It's a funny question because sometimes I'm asked, what did it take to get this management guru title that the Financial Times gave me a few years ago. And what I have to explain to people was actually there was a little project behind it. And I started out, of course, as a professor, but moved very much into the space of keynote speaking a couple of years ago. And what I started to understand was that to become an established speaker, you really needed a validation. So I embarked on what I call the Guru Project, and together with a few friends of mine, we did a little project where we looked at 12 different management gurus, and we did what's called a cross-case comparison. It's a typical academic study where we looked at the experiences or attributes they had to become gurus. And what struck us was very interesting because actually more than half the people that we studied were not professors at all. They were not academics. They were people like Malcolm Gladwell, ex-journalist, Daniel Pink. But we saw some very common themes. And in fact, what I'll tell you about now is what I call the 5 steps to becoming a management guru. And I say this tongue-in-cheek, but it's also actually what I did I guess, be brought into that hall of fame, you can say. The first thing, of course, is that you need to have something new and different to say. So there, a book or an article is extremely important. And what I did was I saw a little gap in the management literature, and that was about creativity, which is obviously a very topical area. And then there was business. And what I saw was there was lots of books on sort of the creative world, the art world. There was lots of books on business, but nothing that brought the two together. So I wrote a book together with some friends called The Fine Art of Success, and it's about business lessons from the creative industry. So that was the first step. The second thing we understood was, of course, it's not enough just to have an idea to write a book. You have to get that idea talked about or endorsed by what we call the validators. And in our world, that was brands like the Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Economist. So after we published our book, we did some other work. We wrote some case studies on Lady Gaga, for example. We shared that research, we shared that work with journalists, particularly at the Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the Economist. Now, of course, what we've been doing also in the meantime was we've been calling ourselves management gurus. So any chance we had, website, going to an event, writing on the website, we would call ourselves gurus. So when these journalists got our work, they liked it, and then they Googled us. What did they discover? They discovered that we were management gurus. So we were actually lucky enough in actually getting written up by all 3 of those publications. And in one of them, a journalist referred to us as a management guru. The third thing is very, very important because once you've been endorsed or I could say approved by these important reference brands, the phone will start ringing. So when the phone starts ringing, it's very important for you to be scarce. Now, what I mean by scarce, of course, a management guru who's worth his salt is not going to be available because he's going to be so heavily booked. So, of course, you never answer the phone, you never answer your email. You need a very good personal assistant at this point. Now, of course, at that stage, I was more or less self-employed, so I didn't have a personal assistant, so I had to invent one. And her name, I gave her a name which I hope sounded a little bit aggressive. It was Birgit. But Birgit was actually me because I didn't have an assistant. So I would answer to these clients who were contacting me, and so that was kind of funny. I don't do that now, of course, because luckily enough, my keynote speaking did take off, and I'm lucky enough now to have a real living personal assistant who answers my mails. The fourth thing was about being reassuring and expensive, and this actually is very close to the world of luxury goods. Whether you're talking about watches or cars, people who are buying something which they think is, high-end, special, whether it's a luxury good or a management guru, expect it to be expensive. So I needed to increase my daily rates by about 5 times. That was kind of interesting because actually when I did that, my fear was that I would get less work. When I increased my daily rates, actually I got much, much more work. The last thing, of course, and I've been talking a little bit tongue-in-cheek here, but it's really what I did, is that you have to be good at delivering your message. So it's not enough to say you're a guru, to write a nice book. When you're invited along to speak to an audience, you have to be very, very good at what you do. So I spent time taking acting lessons. I studied stand-up comedy quite intensively and really worked not just on the content, but on the choreography. So they're the 5 steps to becoming a management guru. I think anyone can do it, and I wish you good luck with the attempt. Thank you.